Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back to the channel. One of the biggest gameplay changes is the adjustment to several Lost Colony cavern entrances. The entrances for Ruins of the Ascended Cavern, Cavern of the Whispering Needle, and Cavern of the Sapphire Cascades were reduced in size, and the idea behind that is to make them less wide open and easier to defend, especially in PvP where larger creatures could previously make those spaces feel too exposed. There is also a pretty useful quality of life change for equipment traits, because lower tier traits can now be combined in the Mega Lab, with 10 of one tier turning into 1 of the next tier. That gives weaker traits a real purpose instead of letting them sit there collecting dust. On top of that, once all standard global milestones are finished, players now get repeatable milestones for ongoing XP, and those rewards scale with player level so they still matter later in progression. A few creature and movement tweaks also stand out. Gigadesmodus can now walk backwards, which sounds like a niche change until you remember how awkward some mounts can feel when you are trying to reposition in a tight fight. Malwyn now has a traversal teleport ability, which should make it feel much less sluggish when compared with other creatures in its size range. Solwyn's ice bridges can now be placed closer to enemy structures, and on PvE they can be destroyed by the MEW to help stop griefing. Occidon Taming got another pass too, with the number of creatures needed during the roll-up phase reduced by about 30%, which should make the whole process less of a setup-heavy headache. Even the player movement side got attention, because characters can now make a larger jump while stuck or sliding on an incline, which is the kind of fix that sounds minor until you are actually trapped in terrain and need one clean escape. There are also some very practical systems changes in here. Gloom's Charge Light can now be toggled remotely, with the clap emote, which is a neat convenience feature for anyone already using charge pets. Boss teleporter crafting was added to Lost Colony loot crates as another way to start that fight, and there is an option to disable custom proportions while wearing cosmetics, which should help with visual consistency. The Tribe Tower element bonus now works properly during the Lost Colony boss encounter, and template building on platform saddles with the clipboard and hammer is blocked on official PvP servers, with unofficial owners able to control that through configuration. Those changes might not sound dramatic at first glance, but they clean up a lot of loopholes, balance edge cases, and weird interactions that can turn into real headaches during actual play. Now for the part that a lot of players will care about most, the bug fixes. This build tackles milestone progression issues, milestone cosmetics that would not stay unlocked, transfer failures when incompatible items were auto-dropped, profile data bloat during transfers, and serious stalling when loading into Lost Colony outposts or starting outpost missions. It also fixes performance hits from destroying heavily snapped structure networks, enemies getting stuck inside structures during the Lost Colony boss fight, bad anti-mesh triggers in that arena, sleeping thralls being possessable during the Lost Queen fight, mission enemies getting stuck or falling into the mesh, mission enemies failing to return to the combat area, quick mount problems after building in defense missions, incorrect timer display in single player, thralls reverting to follow after restart, and AI weapon issues when whistled to attack. There are fixes for Veilwind pathing, Aureliax grab behavior, Armadoggo overspawns, medical stand blood loss behavior, scout dust consumption, cryofridge collision, platform saddle mesh problems, Rhinianatha force landing, tech replicator crafting, gamepad UI problems, light direction issues, sound and respawn timing, painting audio, glider text, pheromone dart crafting, HDR menu behavior, club arc mislabeling, underwater visuals, the aberration ascension cutscene, AMD frame interpolation artifacts, mesh holes and trees visually respawning at render range. That is a massive cleanup pass, and it shows the update is focused on making the game behave better in all the spots where players were getting stuck, crashing, or losing time. There are also platform-specific fixes that are worth calling out.